he was really good in this film. Michael B. Jordan was really good. Tessa Thompson, Felicia Rashad, all of them.
Oh yeah, Felicia Rashad stays playing a problematic mother who you care for in the end. She plays that role so well. It's ridiculous. Like I almost shed one tear. Her last scene, I was like, she is playing that role. That is why she is who she is. All is forgiven. And she's Apollo. My goodness. What are you doing? Claire. No, it was good. And I did find, so apparently Rocky or Sylvester Stallone, he thought the movie was too dark. The tone of, and it was, I think, one of the darker films, particularly in the Rocky Creed franchise. It was very much dark undertones. Yeah.
Was it more than the first two Creed films?
I think so, because it was so much about overcoming, finding your new self, uplifting storylines, really modeling that Eye of the Tiger moment. But in this one, it focuses more on the villain, right? And even when it's focused on the hero, Creed, he's in a very dark place, and I don't know, he kind of created this villain. There wasn't much to be happy about in this movie. There was death. I mean, even in the victory, it wasn't happy.
I mean, what he wanted to do, run up the, what do you call those stairs?
Right. And he had a running moment when he ran up the mountain where the Hollywood sign is or whatever, but it just wasn't, I mean, even that it wasn't the same kind of comeback that Rocky had when he was older. It was very much vengeance, anger, violent even. I mean, yeah. And it was still made a good movie. It was fine. But he was just saying he would have wanted to have a more of a redemption or more positive line. He was still a producer on the movie. So, I mean, yeah, he's not in it, but he's still getting paid. So, what?
I mean, I guess it just would have been a different movie. Would you have the same actors?
You could have the same actors. He just says a different direction that he would have taken it. I think you could have did that just fine, but just it not feeling so. I mean, for example, I'll go back to Black Panther again. So in that one, or the first Iron Man, because again, it's really this, you're from the same place and it goes this climactic fight. We're kind of even, but the good guy will win because he's being a good guy and not taking cheap shots. That's like over and over again the story. But the way we got there was so much focused on this bad character in Dame. I think that's probably where the difference lies. Because in the Rocky movies, yeah, there's fighters you're not necessarily rooting for who are against Rocky, but no one comes across as evil or dirty.
I mean, I don't think he's really evil or dirty. I felt like he was done dirty. And now he's trying to get back what he lost, or what he thought he lost, the opportunity.
I think that is true, except it's not like he was going on a mass murder spree or something like that. But just him breaking the rules and fighting and hurting people, having the gun, and that being an important part of the storyline is just not I would say the quote unquote family type movie that Rocky was, where it really was just all in the ring, and there wasn't as much things in the street. You could argue that's not very realistic for how this movie was done. It all makes sense. It was filmed very well. The story makes sense, and he's not saying it's a bad movie. It was just he would have made it differently.
So knocking somebody out in the ring is family friendly? Making somebody bleed?
And so it's interesting. So think about in the story though, whenever the little girl is at the boxing match, they're fine with kids being there. But it's whenever the fighting gets ugly that she's taken away. And I think that one scene alone is probably something that he would not have liked being in the movie.
So all those times he got beat up, they should have had children there?
I mean, they were. Even in the Creed movies, the daughter was fine, but there was never like a malicious intent where the person was actually trying to kill or, break the rules so much they were damaging or hurting the other player. Really, it's like unsportsmanlike conduct. I'll put it that way. Like you have some people who are like, by any means necessary, it's football, it's wrestling, do whatever you got to do, which is what I think this movie did with Dame's character. But there are others who are like, no, there are rules. Yeah, listen to the ref. You can't take cheap shots. Those kinds of things that your little league coach would say. That's what Rocky was to Creed, little league coach. Now Creed's in college and didn't care about that anymore. So coach is like, all right, I'll take a step back. That's fine.
Really, he's running his own business, and now he's like, I got.
Yeah, it's also very different. I mean, Rocky was poor. I mean, he was rich, but he wasn't rich. He was still walking around looking like a homeless man. Even in the Creed movies. Whereas in this franchise, you have Creed, who's of Ralph Lauren. It's a different vibe. It's not the same. The working class man can support and loves and identifies as Rocky. Whereas this one is a little more like Empire. It's a little glamorous. It's a little ghetto.
What, is he supposed to struggle all the time? Like he can't build himself up?
That's not the Rocky way.
Like he's supposed to be like in his 70s, like Sylvester Stallone, and be on the street, almost looking homeless.
Rocky was a heavyweight champion who lived like the humble man who has a farm. Adonis Creed is the modern wrestler. He is, and he is like, it's interesting. If you took Floyd Mayweather and split him into two parts, I feel like you would get Creed and Dame. The flashiness, the whatever of Dame with the talent and the money and the endorsements of Adonis. So I think it's a very modern take on what wrestling is like today, which is just not what it was like for Rocky in his time. But I mean, I think it's always funny. People forget that Rocky isn't a real person. It's not based on a true story. It's just so old for some reason. People think it's like it happened, but it didn't. And Rocky lost. In I think the first movie, he lost the big fight, which is different than this as well. So it's different. It's just not. It's not Rocky. So I'm not surprised he wasn't in it.
Thanks for watching. And if you would like to be featured on our podcast, make sure to click the link in the description.